We all know extraordinary people who do extraordinary things. They may not be famous or wealthy or powerful, but they have a generosity of spirit and a capacity for love that is awe-inspiring. Whether it's a friend who goes out of their way to help others or a complete stranger who does something kind and unexpected, these are the people who remind us that there is still goodness in the world. Meeting ordinary people who do extraordinary things is always a special experience, one that inspires hope and reminds us of our own potential to make a difference. Join me in taking a deep dive into why these special individuals do what they do. There's no denying that the world could use more kindness, and it all starts with each of us. My name's Irene Meyer, and I'm here to deliver stories about regular people who do inspiring things every day. Hello, everybody. I am so happy to introduce my next guest today. Her name is Jesika Kula. And as I started to get to know her a little bit, she just impressed me entirely. So I wanted her to tell you about her story. She's out of Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. She's founder and CEO of Seedling Art Co, as well as a social media strategist. I really love her story. I want her to share with everyone in her audience, as well as mine, everything about her. Welcome, Jesika.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I'm super honored to be here.
Oh, me too. The pleasure is mine. I can't wait for my audience and your audience to hear a lot more about you. One of the things I should probably ask you is tell our audiences a little bit about your background before we kind of start digging into things.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually studied at Simon Fraser University out in Vancouver, British Columbia. I studied a mixture of different things. So I'm more classically trained, if you will, in graphic design, media creation, marketing, and entrepreneurship. And with those tools, I've basically had the opportunity to work with a lot of different startups, nonprofits, charities, and higher educational organizations. And all of that experience really just led me to starting my own company, Seedling Art Co, where we're working to make mental wellness tools like cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy more accessible for teens and young adults.
Yes, that is what caught me when you started talking about your mission and the innovation around your mission. What is the story behind Seedling Art Co, if you don't mind expanding on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So as a mental wellness company, mental health is something that is very near and dear to my heart. I've had a lot of exposure to different aspects of mental health. One of the first being my mother. She was a frontline mental health care worker for the last 10 years. So I really had a good understanding of what it was like to navigate the mental health care system as a mental health care practitioner. And then I guess a little bit more about what sparked Seedling and a deeper interest in mental health is my own personal mental wellness journey. So when I started university, I went through a really intense period of burnout. And I think there's this assumption with burnout that you're feeling kind of low, you'll get over it, you'll be fine. It ultimately took me about 5 years to heal from that. And along with that burnout came chronic panic attacks, lack of motivation, a lack of will to get out of bed. And it just really impacted my mental wellness. And along that time, stigma in mental health is something that is still very prominent. It's still very real. I wanted to share my experience because I was curious. I was like, hey, is university doing this to anyone else? Like, is anyone else struggling with this? And upon talking with my peers, with my friends, with my family, with other people I would just meet, ultimately I discovered that yes, mental health affects everyone one way or another, whether personally, their own mental wellness journey, or through a loved one who is also struggling. So it's through the lens of my mom, through my own personal experience, and then through my training in entrepreneurship that I decided to create Seedling. And specifically with the entrepreneurship, I think what's really interesting, a lot of times people have this misconception that small business and entrepreneurship is all about making money. And money is 100% a very important part of it. You need to be able to sustain yourself and your business. But for me, entrepreneurship has always been about problem solving, and specifically problem solving these wicked, complex problems that don't have very clear cut solutions. In this case, for me and for Seedling, is mental health.
Wow. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to what you just said there. And thank you for sharing such a personal story. It kind of lends to the fact that have caught a problem in your life, I guess, a challenge, and you've learned how to just create a solution for yourself, or at least work towards creating solutions, but you also wanted to take this and share it with others, which I think is so admirable. I guess on that note, what would be the unique quality of your service? I guess what would be the unique quality that you provide to audiences today?
Yeah, absolutely. So before I jump into that, I think I need to explain just a little bit about why we started. So we're a journaling company, and we're providing these clinical tools, cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy. I'll refer to them as CBT and DBT just because they are a bit of a tongue twister. So we wanted to make these tools more accessible for individuals who are looking to seek mental health support and mental health treatment, like counseling and other services. There are a lot of barriers to access. So with my own mental wellness journey, as I was trying to find a counselor, when I was trying to navigate the free system for mental health care, I found really long wait lists, and I found really expensive costs. For something like clinical counseling, it can cost anywhere from $120 to $170 an hour. And at Seedling, we're not looking to replace these services. I think counseling and traditional mental health care services are vital, but especially with the pandemic, what we've seen is a ridiculous amount of burnout amongst these mental health care workers, and an increase in need for better mental health support. So with Seedling, what we're doing is we are aiming to fill that need for individuals who are looking to get started on their mental wellness journey, whether they decide to go for counseling later down the road, or even if they don't, we're providing them with tools to be able to take that journey into their own hands, learn some of these skills and coping techniques, then it can at least get them to a place of a little bit more stability, or help them recover a little bit from their anxiety, their depression, whatever it is they're struggling with. So I think that's one of the really unique points of us, is like not aiming to fix everything, but we are aiming to kind of provide a need to this community that's been previously underserved.
Gotcha. Wow, the way it just kind of rolls off your tongue, you'd think you've been doing this for quite some time. I think based on your wisdom and based on your passion for what you do, you would think you're a little bit older. And I don't mean to make that sound like a ridiculous statement, but you were awarded something called the Top 25 Under 25. I really wanted the audience to know just how impactful someone in your age group can be to your entire country, really, if you wanted to go that far, but really just to people in general. Tell me a little bit about the Top 25 Under 25.
Yeah, I would be happy to. So through my work with Seedling, I was honored with the Top 25 Under 25 for the Surrey Board of Trade Award. I'm currently in Victoria, BC, but prior to this, I was living out in Vancouver, BC, and I went to school in Surrey. And with the Top 25 Under 25 award, it was really to celebrate like younger innovators. So people who are involved with the community, whether that be through like their charitable support, whether that be through academics, whether that be through small business. And in my case, it was more small business and innovation, but really anyone who was under the age of 25 at the time of applying for the award, who is making an impact in their local community. And I was honored to be one of the recipients, but there were also some really incredible, most of them are students, but like younger people who also were doing fantastic things in the community.
It is an accomplishment stemming from your comment about innovators, young innovators. What would you say is the biggest problem your particular business solves, do you think?
Yeah, so with our journals and with Seedling, we are working very specifically in the kind of niche of young people. It's important to recognize, of course, everybody is going to experience mental health at some point, like mental health struggles at some point. It affects everyone. But what the Canadian Mental Health Association, or CAM, the acronym for their organization, they've done a lot of research on mental health. They found that for individuals, I believe it's age 15 to mid-20s, they're the group that's most affected by mental illness and by mental struggles. And so what we wanted to do was really focus on these pivotal years. There's really a lot going on for individuals in terms of like leaving high school, potentially going into university or potentially navigating what their next step is, like career-wise. So there is a lot more stress that's introduced into the lives of these individuals at these points in time.
What makes you passionate about helping others? You strike me as somebody who's always been passionate about helping others, maybe now just finding your niche as to how you can help others, but what makes you passionate about helping others?
Yeah, I think when I learned about entrepreneurship, and I touched on this a little bit at the beginning, but the misconception of entrepreneurship is real. And I'm very ambitious. I like to do things. I like to go out and just like problem solve. And when I learned about entrepreneurship as this problem solving tool, and a way to actually help people rather than just like, hey, like make money, I just so happened to align really well with my own personal struggle with mental health. And I think on the mental health side of things, I'm so passionate about it because I don't want anyone else to have to go through what I've gone through, what my friends have gone through, what a lot of other people in the community have gone through. And if there's any way that we can help people heal or even help prevent some of these struggles, I think that's something that's really important, and something that I'm very passionate about. But even as just a startup and as a small business, I think it's really important at a higher level that whenever businesses are operating, that they have some sort of social purpose or social function. They're not just here to exist to make money, but rather to help people. And I think that's something I'm equally as passionate about.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. What kind of message would you give out to young generations like yourself who want to create an impact? What message would you give to these young people?
That's a good one. What message would I give to young people? So I think in addition to working with Seedling, I do a little bit of contract work with a couple of other organizations, one of which is called Power Play, Young Entrepreneurs. And we're specifically working with children grades 4 to 8 to teach them how to use their problem-solving entrepreneurial mindset skills. So I actually work to help develop that curriculum. And I think there's this misconception that you have to be older, but what we're seeing more and more, whether it's through Power Play or just in the local news, kids have this incredible imagination and creative power, something that as adults is almost like taught out of us a little bit through traditional education systems. And so anyone can be an entrepreneur. Anyone can be an innovator. Doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter where you're starting in life. It doesn't matter what your background is. You really just need to have a desire to help and to work on building your problem-solving skills.
Love that. That's awesome. I'm so proud of you, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So Jesika, if you could leave a lasting message for your audience and mine, what would that message be?
Yeah. So one thing I really wanted to point out is that not everybody has the ability to prioritize their mental health. And the reason why I say that is, for example, let's say you're working at a job, you're really anxious, you're stressed, you don't want to go. It's really affecting your mental well-being, but maybe you can't afford to take time off from work. Maybe that's something that you absolutely have to do. Mental health, a lot of the time, is a privilege. And I wish it wasn't. And that's kind of what we're working for at Seedling, to be able to make these tools more accessible. But I think when it comes to financial literacy and what you do, Irene, and mental health and what we're doing at Seedling, they're very closely interwoven. They're very connected. And I think a lot of stress comes from the financial aspect. So I think just noting that and trying to, like, if I could give advice to anyone who's in that situation, it's really just trying to prioritize like 5 minutes of time during your busy day, if you can, like 5 minutes at lunch just to breathe or just to do a little walk, and like slowly start working in whatever parameters that you're in to help prioritize yourself. And by doing that, you'll be able to help a little bit with your mental health.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that, by the way. And just so you guys know, we did not plan that. And I really appreciate, Jesika, what you do for people. And I can't wait to see Seedling Art Co. thrive. I definitely think you have an innovation there that's not just innovative, but it's truly helpful. And at the end of the day, guys, if you follow Jesika, where can they follow you, by the way?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have pretty much all the social media. They can follow us at Seedling Art Co. So that's our website and most of our social handles. So if you Google us, we'll pop up. But you're also welcome to like add me personally on LinkedIn, just Jesika Kula. I'm always happy to chat and connect with other innovators in the space, something I'm very passionate about.
Oh, that's great. Awesome, guys. So yes, follow Jesika Kula. Thank you so much for joining us, Jesika. I really enjoyed speaking with you. I can't wait to work closely with you and seeing how we can, partner up and really change the world. And for the rest of you, I got you all. Have an awesome day.
Hey, good afternoon.
I want to go on here.